How did you meet Jess?
So
And who is Jess?
Jessica's my wife.
Jessica's your wife.
She's a lovely woman.
She's wonderful.
I'm very blessed.
Yes.
She basically, I had known barely of her. I knew she looked familiar, and basically what happened was I had posted in my church group chat on Facebook at the time, just asking that people would pray for my brother. He was starting to go to church. He had never been a church goer that much. So I was just like, hey, if you could keep him in your prayers, I'm going to Japan. I'd really appreciate it. Just keep an eye out, say what's up to him, that type of thing. Then her mother commented on that post and was like, I'm going to be praying, like, God bless you, good luck, thank you for your service. Her profile picture is Jess. And so I'm thinking, I'm like, this lady's name is Peggy.
But it looks...
And I'm like, but it looks like this young woman. And again, no offense to the name. I'm not saying anything. But
You just didn't
but I was
expect
just
that
like,
profile picture to be a Peggy.
Exactly. Because I had never really heard, like, the name Peggy with people that looked my age.
Right.
So, moral of the story, I click on the page and I'm like, oh, wait, no, this is her. This is either like her mother, like a relative. I didn't know who it was. So I just scrolled down. And I wasn't creeping, but right there where those first 6 friends are, you know, the recommended or
One
whatever,
of them was Jess.
One of them was Jess. Clicked on it, didn't even think, was just like, add friend. So I added her, and then I think later that day, I added her on Instagram.
How'd you find her Instagram?
I just looked up her name.
So then you were looking a little.
I was creeping.
Yeah,
I was creeping. I'm not gonna sit here in front.
Yo.
So I'm creeping.
Yeah.
And I look her up on Instagram.
But you were creeping with respect.
Oh, no. I wasn't being a weirdo.
Yeah, you were respectfully
I was just
creeping.
like, this woman is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I just want to see if I know her. Like, she looks kind of familiar.
Right.
And I kind of knew I didn't really know her.
Yeah, let's be real. You knew you didn't know her.
Maybe I'll get to know her.
Yeah, right.
You know?
And you kind of did.
Maybe I will.
Yeah.
So then I hit her up. I follow her on Instagram. And I didn't hit her up yet.
Yeah.
I'm at work, and Japan is 13 and a half hours ahead. So I'm sitting at work. It's like 1 p.m. And I'm talking to this dude, Watkins. Shout out to my buddy Watkins. I'm talking to him. We're sorting out bolts and washers and all these little parts. We're just...
You mean like little screws and bolts?
Dude. We're just sorting them into bins. It's a long week we had together.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm going, it's been 2 days probably since I friended her on Facebook. And I'm going, dude, I don't know why. I want to be single, I said to myself. But I keep thinking about this girl, and I don't even really know her. And I'm telling him this. And I'm like, I feel like I want to reach out to her, but is it pointless? I'm in Japan. I just got here 2 months ago.
Also, it's wild because you never met her.
Exactly.
You don't really know the first thing about her, but something about her, you're like, she is captivating me.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, and that was the conversation. I told him, I don't really know her. I know I sound crazy.
Yeah.
And I know I just got to Japan, so this makes no sense because clearly she's from Connecticut.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to reach out to her. So he goes, and I'll never forget it.
Okay.
And I always tell people when they ask me, because it's I don't know, girls are like, oh, that's so cute, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he looks at me and goes, dude, worst case scenario, you DM her on Instagram, and she never replies to you. And best case scenario is, I don't know, dude, she could end up being your wife.
Are you serious?
And he said those words, and right when he said it, I opened my phone up, and I DM'd her.
What'd you say?
I was just like, and I wanted to sound like as sly as I could.
Yeah, so
I was just like, hey, I'm Sebastian. I don't ever do this. Because I never did.
No, you don't.
I didn't DM people. I wasn't creeping. Like, if I saw you out, maybe I'd say hello. Or if we went to school together, something like that. Or if we were already Snapchatting, whatever it was.
Yep.
But I never DM'd. So I just said, hey, I don't usually do this. I don't mean to sound weird. But for some reason, I wanted to reach out to you. And I just wanted to give you my Snapchat. If you're ever interested in talking, I would love to get to know you. If not, I totally understand.
So respectful.
Yeah. And,
not weird.
And I just said that, and I was like, you know what? Like he said, best case scenario, this is going to be my wife. And here we are 5 years later.
Wow. So obviously she got back to you?
Yeah, she got back to me, and we just started FaceTiming. And, I'm not a huge fan of technology. I like some of it.
Yep.
But there's many things where I'm like, we got to talk more in person like this. You know, we got to have more human conversations. But FaceTime was a life saver.
FaceTime at that time was as close as you can get.
That was it.
And I think
mean,
it's important to remind everybody that you guys had never met in person.
Never. Yeah, we had never met in person, never shook hands. Maybe we were in the same church.
Yeah,
You know, maybe
right.
we were in the same place at the same time in passing. She was actually a shadow teacher in my class in high school. So
Really?
my math teacher, my senior year, had her shadowing him, and I remember seeing her.
Oh, so you had seen her before.
I'd seen her there, but that is like a crazy coincidence.
Yeah.
And that math teacher is now my cousin-in-law because he married into her family.
You're kidding.
Yeah. So that is a big, crazy other side story. But moral of the story, she reaches out, we FaceTime, and as weird as people may think that is, we began a relationship that way. But I got to know this person extremely well in a short matter of time because all we had was communication with each other.
That's an excellent way of putting it.
We were not texting. Of course, we were texting, but our main source of conversations was face-to-face on FaceTime, and we would sit there. I would do creative things, dude. I'd be like, I'm gonna Uber Eats you food, whatever you want,
In America.
and in America, and I'm going to send flowers to her house, and she wouldn't know. And we're going to have a date on the phone. You're going to put on your movie. I'm going to stay up late in Japan. It'll be morning for you on a Saturday, and we're going to click that movie at the same time, and we're going to watch it. And I got creative, dude. I was just like, I want this to work. I really love this woman. I knew right off the bat.
I was just going to say, so you knew?
Oh, no, dude. When they say, when you know, you know.
You knew.
I knew.
Yeah.
I knew from the first day I talked to her. I was like, uh-oh. I remember calling my mom and going, this sounds crazy. I think I'm going to marry this girl. And my mom was like, okay, slow down, blah, blah, whatever.
Yeah.
And I knew, though. I was like, if this works out, if she's patient and waits for me to finish up my time in Japan, this is going to work. And God willing, this is a part of his plan for me. And it's going to go smooth. And there was many bumps, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, man. No
Yeah.
relationship's perfect. Let's not sit here and act like it was a fairy tale.
Again, a lot of flaws, a lot of ways we could have acted different and honored God more.
Yeah.
But, I'm just glad to say that it worked out and that we are now married and everything is very well.